Hey YouTube, we're back talking about the RF35 today. I finally have my own copy of an RF lens and I'm really excited. I'm going to be filming all my future videos with this lens and I couldn't wait to explore the macro side of things. We've already done a video on the model stuff in the portrait and we know how outstanding it performed. So let's take a look at what macro can do, because I've never owned an actual macro lens. I've always used extension tubes. So what kind of objects should it shoot? What kind of size? How far do you have to stand? I just decided I'm going to take 100 photos for this week and just explore and see what it's good at, what it's not. So before I say any more, let's jump right in and look at those shots and then I'll summarize after. Okay, we're going to take a quick walk through of 87 shots. I had to narrow it down a little bit. I had some duplicates and stuff that looked too similar, but I took well over 100 shots. And we've got a mix of stuff from indoors, some paintings, some fruit, some textures, a lot of food. Tried different materials, glass, light, using some mirrors, some toys. And then we took the lens outside and you could see all of a sudden we're seeing different textures and details. Then back inside for a couple more objects. So let's kick things off. I kind of just walked around taking pictures of whatever I could find around me. I was trying different f-stops, different ISO settings, different lighting environments, and one of the first things that caught my eye was this painting. You could see the paint globs, how the texture on the canvas really popped out, and color really caught my attention. And that was a theme across the whole week, was that color and macro photography go really, really well together, especially involved with texture. I tried to take a picture of this water bottle and I noticed that the autofocus system with water and glass was really failing, really limiting my creative options with macro photography, and not to mention this thirsty traveler who interrupted my shot. But I did manage to get a shot at f10 to show the kind of details in the pores and skin that you could get. Got some porcelain, some plants. You can see all the dust and dirt show up. I did some minimal editing here. Textures came out pretty boring for the most part. I wouldn't recommend the RF35 for texture necessarily. It was too far away from most of them. But if you're looking for a lot of backgrounds for Instagram or YouTube thumbnails, you can get a lot of great content out of here. This lens is a content generating machine. This was one of the first shots that really stood out to me, how ice was capturing the water and the bubbles. I really want to explore more ice in the future with this lens. Something about this shot is so calming and relaxing, and just the mix of water and highlights and texture and detail. Here we see a chalkboard, a watch. As we get into some food photography, you could see all kinds of organic texture and detail and color that you really can't find anywhere else in the world, and it just makes you hungry. So before we go any further, I say hit pause and go grab a snack, because you are going to get hungry or thirsty. I really love how the bubbles at macro level came out, how the little tiny reflections and highlights and shadows worked. Definitely something I want to play more with. Here I tried to get the bubbles in a soda. This was a ginger ale, and I just couldn't get focus. Again, water and glass just would not work with the autofocus. So even at f22, when you're this close to a subject, there's some huge amount of separation still happening. So don't expect to get everything in focus. We'll have to do a little focus stacking video in the future. Here's my 45mm, and again, glass just not autofocusing. Insects I found were too small. I couldn't get close enough to them. You really need to go below the 4 to 5 inch minimum focal distance to capture the detail on something like a spider. So you might need maybe the 85mm if you're going to plan to do insects, or a zoom lens. Again, food and texture working really well. Something I want to mention is that the texture slider in Lightroom is very powerful at macro photography because there's so many small details at play. That's something you really want to explore with this. Whereas clarity kind of affects the entire image and everything out of focus, texture just focuses on what's already working well and enhancing it. Oatmeal is very gross at macro level. Again, lights. I just couldn't get it in focus the way I wanted. So I played around with water on a mirror, some droplets, and then I took a quick selfie. Then I had this idea to smudge the water, and it came out really cool. When it got to small objects and toys, I realized that the macro lens again couldn't get close enough to grab the gritty details up close, but you would want to take a step back to capture the whole object, which defeats the purpose of macro. So you really just need a 50mm or a zoom lens to capture something like this. You don't need a macro lens. Again, food, really great. This was a neat shot of my modem just sitting beside me. There's a good mixture of the texture on the outside and a see-through material that you could kind of see the modem inner workings on the inside in the same shot. Once we get into nature, you realize how powerful color and lighting and texture and detail is with macro. This is where this lens shines the most. Take this thing outside, go for a walk. You'll be stopping every 10 minutes to take photos by just walking around the street. Who knew a dried up leaf had so much texture and detail? I really like this mixture of texture up close and the sky in the background out of focus. Came out really well. Again, color with deep texture on this concrete is a great mixture. This is one of my favorite shots. Looking at rust on metal on just this random sewer grate on the floor gave so much life and character. Here's some brick. I want to give an example of what text might look like on a macro lens, and you can actually see the pixels of the e-ink on a Kindle. I like how this shot came out. You could see the product logo nice and clear, but there's this really nice fall off at f1.8, isolating and bringing the eye down to the logo. Here you can see the noise at f10. I had to pull the ISO up to 5000, and it's just not something you want to do on an indoor shot. Love the threads and textures on this shot. This lens really shines with tools and accessories at this size. It's just small enough to capture in frame, and there's enough detail that you can get nice and close to. And the bokeh on the shiny stuff is really nice. Here again, there's no need for macro lenses on toys. You really want to step back with a 50mm. And that's all I got. So what did we learn? To start off, my favorite part about this lens was how much better it was than the EF version. There's almost no vignette and distortion before applying any camera profiles or manipulation. So right out of the camera raw, it's producing clean photos, properly exposed on all corners. Sure, there's probably a little bit, but it was so minimal that I did no editing to fix up my photos in that way. We know that it's really, really great outdoors and not so much indoors. It's cool for food and stuff like that, but pretty much anything organic inside or out is where this excels. The manufactured stuff, the plastic, the smooth stuff, it's kind of boring. It doesn't get close enough for that kind of stuff. Speaking of close enough, if you like to shoot like objects and toys and stuff of that size for kids, it really wasn't necessary. You could have got a good enough shot with a 50mm or any kind of zoom lens. You don't need a macro lens to shoot those. And then we learned on the small side, if you're trying to get insects, they were too small for this lens. It couldn't get close enough. It needed a greater zoom or a greater macro ability to be able to catch like the fine details on its arms and things like that. So this lens has amazing speed. The autofocus was fast. The stabilization was great. I took all of these handheld. It was unbelievable how quickly I could just walk from place to place, quickly getting focus and taking shots. It really failed when I was using water or glass in situations like that where there was nothing sharp to focus on, but everything else it hit bang on. So I highly recommend this lens for people who are just nature lovers walking around. You're gonna really enjoy this lens, stopping every 10 minutes to take a picture of a leaf like I did. It was amazing how much I could find around just my house in just one block to take a picture of. If you enjoyed this and learned something, please hit like and subscribe. Visit DemaninPhotography.com or my Instagram for even more info. Bye for now.